everyone. Carlos here with the tech brief for the second week of August for 2024. We're going to start with vulnerabilities. CISA has actually come out and put out an advisory that actors are abusing the Cisco Smart Install feature to gain access to sensitive information on networking devices. Once they get access to the configuration, they get access to those passwords. So CISA is actually recommending that you make sure that all of your passwords inside of your Cisco gear is of type 8. They're actually recommending that people follow the National Security Agency's Smart Install Protocol Misuse Advisory. In addition to that, that they follow the recommendations inside of the Network Infrastructure Security Guide that will help them harden and secure all of these devices. And not only that, so Cisco has also come out and warned of public availability of a proof of concept code for CVE 2024-2419. This one has a CVSS score of 10, which is pretty high for a critical flaw impacting the Smart Software Manager, which is on-prem Cisco SS. This could enable a remote attacker that have access to the device unauthenticated and change the password for any user on the server itself. This is a very big one because this is management software. And not only that, but Cisco has also come out with critical vulnerabilities, CVE 2024-20450, CVE 2024-2452, and CVE 2024-454, all of them with a CVS score of 9.8, affecting the small business SPA 300 series and SPA 500 series IP phones. So yeah, we have a lot of stuff there when it comes to networking devices that we better make sure that we have proper inventory for all of the different versions that are affected, and that we're able to patch all of these devices as quickly as possible. So the first vulnerability is for Jenkins. This one is for CVE 2024-43044, has a CVS score of 9. And this is when Jenkins allows an arbitrary agent process to read files on the controller's file system. So this one's pretty bad. It actually affects Jenkins 2.470 and earlier. Also, it affects the long-term support of Jenkins 2.452 and earlier. So this one should be addressed in your environment. We also have a Linux kernel vulnerability, CVE 2024-36971. This one was actually reported during July, but the reason that we're covering it right now, and it has a CVS score of 7.8, no POC, but it's actively being exploited. So Google has patched this high severity vulnerability because it is being used in limited attacks we believe to be nation states. This also means that now that it has garnered this attention, we're going to start seeing this being researched, and a proof of concept more than likely will surface out there to the public, and we may see more wider exploitation of this vulnerability. And I have to be honest, patching mobile devices, it's quite challenging. Also, keeping a good inventory of all of their devices, the versions of Android, which ones affected, which ones not. We have a vulnerability for Apple ASP. This affects Mac OS Sonoma. It was patched with Mac OS Sonoma 14.6 and has a CVE of 2024-27878, CVS score of 6.5. So it's not a very high CVS score, but there's proof of concept for this one, and the proof of concept's actually been made public. Now, the vulnerability in Apple Talk Session Protocol that was patched last month, it allows an app to run arbitrary code with kernel privileges. Yeah, so that code needs to already be running with higher privileges when it gets exploited, but there's proof of concept code. So yeah, get that one addressed in your environment if you're running Mac OS. So we have a vulnerability for Kibana, a security product. This one has CVE 2023-31414. This one has a CVS score of 8.2 and affects versions of Kibana 8.0 to 8.7. The way that it works is that Kibana contains an arbitrary code execution flaw. So if an attacker can actually write to the YAML or the M configuration could add a specific payload that will attempt to execute JavaScript code. This could lead to an attacker executing arbitrary commands on the host system under the privilege under which Kibana is running under. We also have another Kibana vulnerability. This one's affecting version 8.7. No other versions so far are being affected by this one. It has a CVE ID of CVE 2023 31415. It has a CVSS score of 9.9. So in Kibana version 8.7, it contains arbitrary code execution flaw. So an attacker with all privilege to the uptime synthetic feature could send a request that would allow the attacker to execute JavaScript code that will run under the permissions of the Kibana process itself. There's no proof of concept code so far for it. We're not seeing active exploitation, but given that this is a security product, um, you should be patching this one. We also have a vulnerability for AV-Tech AVM security cameras. This one has a CVE of 2024 7029 and a CVSS score of 8.8. It is actively being exploited, and CISA has actually put out an alert for this one. They have been trying to work with the vendor to get this one patched. So for firmware versions, as you can see on screen, anything below that version should be patched. Now, you're going to think, hey, for IP cameras, they're not exposed to the internet. Yes, they are. In fact, many times we have been in pen tests where we have found those IP cameras exposed out there. Not only that, but we have been in engagements where we have actually moved into the IP cameras for the main reason that there's no security software products in them. So this allows us to actually operate more freely in the targeted environment and just take advantage of the lack of monitoring and lack of controls and logging that may be present in those devices. Also, many times, a lot of environments are not doing proper inventory or even scanning this type of embedded device, which leads to abuse and also leads to serve as a beachhead for an attacker. Now let's move over to the news. And for the news, one of the things I want to cover is a new tool update for Trufflehawk. If you know Justin Elsey from our team here at TrustedSec, you know that he likes hunting through your GitHub for all kinds of token as he's doing an engagement, or even during a pre-sales call, he'll just peruse your GitHub and will find all kinds of things that he will bring over in that call itself. So it is, yeah, it's a super big source of information for us. And what happens is that Trufflehawk actually allows you to search for leaked secrets and tokens, leveraging the vulnerability that I was talking about in the last tech brief, the closed fork object reference that is allowed in GitHub, which they still have not addressed. So people can actually find all commits, branches, and all kinds of old data that may be present there. So yeah, this is one of those that I would recommend that you download the latest version of Trufflehawk, run against your environment, and see if you may be vulnerable to this. Another piece of news that recently came out, and this one came out of the Black Hat USA conference, is that security researcher Michael Bergery was able to demonstrate several vulnerabilities within Microsoft Copilot. Now, this is a big one because we are seeing right now a lot of our customers are experimenting with AI and looking into ways of how they can integrate this as part of their processes. So he was actually able to coerce Copilot itself via prompt injection to search for files, search for all kinds of information, bypassing all kinds of security controls. So this means that if you're evaluating AI, do be careful, do test, do validate. So that's all for this tech brief, and I'll see you guys in the next video.